Developing this morning, the search is on for a man accused of kidnapping a DoorDash driver at gunpoint.
We have this composite now that Tampa police have released. They are searching for a man who's described as a black male in his late 20s or early 30s.
Anybody in their right mind ain't finna hold somebody at gunpoint and then force them to perform, or that'd be kind of crazy.
At some point, he just stated that if I didn't have any money or anything to give him, that I had to give him some head. Meaning,
she just desperately needed this 41-year-old man and his body for her enjoyment. That's his version of events. It makes absolutely no sense.
And jury number 25, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
All right, so sit down, Mr. Killens.
도대체 무슨 일이 있었던 걸까? 그리고 이 끔찍한 일을 저지른 이 남자에게 법원은 어떤 처벌을 내렸을까? 지금부터 저와 함께 이 사건에 대해 들어가 보겠습니다. 처벌 실화냐? 2023년 4월 18일 밤 11시 템파의 한 호텔 주차장. 투잡을 뛰던 20살 그녀에게 이 배달은 그날의 마지막 콜이었습니다. 조용히 주차를 마치고 배달을 위해 차에서 내리려던 그 순간 낯선 남자 하나가 그녀 앞을 가로막았습니다. 그리고 그의 손엔 총이 들려 있었죠. 총구 앞에서 그녀는 자신의 차 문을 스스로 열어야 했습니다. 그때부터 2시간 범인은 옆자리에 앉아 돈을 요구했습니다. 어디로 가는지도 모른 채 그녀는 그저 시키는 대로 도심을 가로질러야 했습니다. 그런데 그가 몰랐던 게 하나 있었습니다. 그녀의 귀에 꽂힌 에어팟이었죠. 통화는 처음부터 끝까지 단 한 번도 끊기지 않았습니다. 2시간의 드라이브 끝에 범인이 그녀를 데려간 곳은 벨라라 레이크스 아파트 단지였습니다. 그리고 나무 그늘 아래에서 그는 총을 겨눈 채 그녀를 성폭행했습니다. 심상치 않은 소리를 들은 여자친구는 그 즉시 가족에게 연락했습니다. 가족은 오직 휴대폰 위치 추적 하나의 의지에 차를 몰았고 놀랍게도 경찰보다 먼저 그 아파트 단지에 도착했습니다. 그리고 바로 그 순간 도착한 가족을 향해 그는 총을 쐈습니다. 총알은 그녀를 구하러 온 여성, 정확히는 여자친구의 자매를 스쳤습니다. 다행히 그녀의 생명에는 지장이 없었습니다. 그런데 이 모든 상황이 벌어지는 그 순간에 이미 경찰 헬기가 떠 있었습니다. 애초에 다른 신고를 받고 그 단지 상공을 돌던 중이었죠. 총성이 울리자 헬기는 곧바로 그 방향을 비췄습니다. 하지만 그가 울타리를 넘어 건물 사이로 사라지는 그 몇 초, 헬기는 그를 놓쳤습니다. 카메라는 도주로를 담아냈지만 정작 그를 붙잡지는 못했습니다. 그날 밤 범인은 끝내 잡히지 않았습니다. 그리고 몇 시간 뒤 다음 날 아침, 그는 태연하게 같은 단지 안에서 또 다른 여성을 넘어뜨려 백팩을 빼앗았습니다. 그리고 그 순간 그의 모습은 단지 감시 카메라에 고스란히 찍혔죠. 경찰은 그가 거쳐간 위치들을 하나씩 추적 수사한 끝에 마침내 한 모텔에서 그를 체포했습니다. 그리고 그에게 기소된 혐의는 무장 납치, 흉기를 이용한 성폭행, 무장 강도, 1급 살인 미수, 그리고 강도, 모두 5가지였습니다. 2026년 8월 템파 힐스버러 카운티 법원. 사건이 벌어진 지 3년 만에 마침내 재판이 시작됐습니다. 그는 자신은 억울하다며 스스로 변호하겠다고 자처하며 증인석에 앉았습니다. 그리고 얼토당토하는 이야기들을 늘어놓기 시작합니다.
And just like I've asked everybody else, tell us how to spell your first and last name.
Joseph Killins. Joseph. Last name Killins. Killins.
All right, thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Killins.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Killins, I'm going to need your voice to be up a little bit loud. Rich, can you help him out and move the
I didn't want to
microphone?
I didn't want to talk real loud, but I can do it though.
We got to hear it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Mr. Hackworth. Sorry.
No problem, Your Honor. You've been convicted of 9 felonies, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've been convicted of 3 crimes of dishonesty, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell us what happened that day.
What day?
The day of the allegations against you.
Well, that day there, it was like in April the 18th, I made a phone call to Harristy. I told her, I said, hey, we need to talk. So she said, I'm going to pick up a pizza. I said, well, okay. She said, and I'm going to deliver it over here by the motel, by International Mall. Based on I am very familiar over there by that area, I said, well, what motel are you going to? Because there's 2 motels right in front of International Mall. Give me the name and I could tell you. So she gave me the name and I said, that'll be the one that is right directly across the street from International Mall. I said, by the time you get there, I will be there. So when she pulled up, I walked towards her car. When she actually seen me, she ran up and screamed. When she screamed, she put her arm around my neck and wrapped her legs around my waist, and I hold her up a little bit with my 2 hands, placing on the left and the right side of her buttocks, and carried her a little bit more over to where her vehicle was and rested my back on the back of her vehicle. She stood in front of me, and if I look, I can look directly at Outback Steakhouse. If I turn my head, that'll be the pool right there. So me and her was talking for a little minute or 2 right there where we was. So I said, I don't want to be all day talking. So she got in the front seat. I was finna get in the passenger seat, but when I opened up the door and seen all those water bottles right there on the floor, that's what made me get in the back, right directly behind her. So I said, let's go to my grandmother's house and I take those water bottles and throw them in my grandmother garbage can. That's what I did. We get in my grandmother's house. I take the water bottles out, not all of them. Just, it was like about 4 or 5 left right there on the floor. And I throw the rest of them in my grandmother garbage can, put my grandmother garbage can back up where it was. Then I sat in the car for a little minute. Her first panic attack was right there in front of my grandmother's house. That's when I calmed her down. I took my right hand and rubbed it on her chest and said, calm down, baby. Calm down. Just breathe. Calm down. And as I'm saying that, I'm taking my right hand, rubbing it on her chest, telling her to calm down. Then I unrolled her window, turned the AC on full blast and stuff. So as I'm in front of my grandmother's house, and at first, that's when I first told her, I said, listen, I don't want to be with you no more, not like that. This is over with. So she asked me again and she said, please come ride with me. I said, okay. Now this is what I'm finna tell you now. When I get in this car, I'm finna go to sleep. So when I get in the vehicle, I adjusted the seat, laid back, and I went to sleep.
Okay, what happened next?
Then we got to the apartments. When we got to the apartments and we went all the way to the back, she backed her car in. She performed oral sex on me, and hey, she threw it up in the center of my lap. I took the jacket from the back seat, cleaned myself off, and all that. I wasn't finna get out with all this throw up just sitting in the center of my pants and my relation in the center of my pants. Anybody in their right mind ain't finna hold somebody at gunpoint and then force them to perform. So that'd be kind of crazy. And I mean, I was sitting there, like I say, about a good little minute after that, and I seen the black car pull up. When I seen she pulls up, she get out. NSD was on the passenger side. She gets out. She comes on my side. She pulled out a gun that was in her pocket. And I can specifically, when I seen it, I noted what it was. It's all chrome with a black grip. And she pointed at me. She's mostly under the tree, pointing directly at me. Her first fire was at, that's how NSD gets shot. That's how she gets shot, because she tried to shoot me, but she messed up and shot her sister right here. It went through the window and shot. I turns around and shoot back towards that building, how her car was back then. I'm going backwards not front the building that's in front of the car. I'm going behind how the car is backed in.
Okay. So you've just described the gunfire. What happened after the gunfire?
They ran.
Okay.
They got away.
What did you do?
I just said what I did. I ran and shot towards the apartments. I'm trying to get away and all that because I didn't want to get shot and nothing like that. Besides that, I ain't do nothing else.
Okay, to clarify.
I didn't shoot nobody. I didn't rob nobody. I didn't force nobody in no car.
Okay, to clarify, when you said that you shot, did you mean you shot a gun or you ran in that direction?
I ran. I ain't shoot nothing. My bad. I ran. Excuse my turn. I ran, not I didn't shoot nothing. I ran.
Okay, eventually you stopped running.
I stopped running when I got through that building right there, when I was completely out of that breezeway.
What did you do next?
After that, only thing I want to say is I did not shoot no gun. The person that shot that gun is NSD. And the reason she shot that gun because me and her had two altercations about Harristy. I told Harristy that I didn't want to be with her no more. Harristy told me exactly, quoting word for word in that car. She said, if I can't have you, ain't nobody gonna have you.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to let the jury know? There's also an allegation that you robbed a woman for a backpack. Did that occur?
That part, I did not rob nobody for no backpack, but y'all may take the wrong interpreter that I said on the phone when I was talking to my girl, and I did not rob her because I did not see her, like literally did not see her.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No.
All right. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you, sir.
그는 이 모든 게 사랑이었다고 말했습니다. 총을 겨눈 적도 방아쇠를 당긴 적도 없다고 말이죠. 하지만 그의 주장과 다르게 검찰의 손엔 그가 몰랐던 증거들이 이미 쥐어져 있었습니다. 가장 먼저 부른 건 사건 당일 현장에 출동했던 경찰이었습니다.
We can all figure out how to spell Robert Williams, so you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. What agency are you employed with?
The Tampa Police Department.
And are you assigned to a specific division?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in the aviation unit.
What is your title?
Tactical flight officer.
And what does that mean your duties day-to-day look like?
Basically, I operate the high-definition camera that's attached to the police helicopter, and I operate the police radios.
Can you tell us what we're looking at by way of how far away your aircraft is from the scene itself and what you're doing?
So the SLT range, that's the slant range, that's how far we are from the scene. You'll see that in the top right. We're about 2,500 feet away from the scene at this point.
Let me stop you there. I'm going to go up to that second, which is going to be... So when we're looking at the vehicle itself on 35, there's not actually flames coming out of the vehicle?
No, ma'am. That's just the heat from the exhaust.
And is that one of the indicators that you know that there's some heat from that location?
Yes, ma'am.
How about these other locations that are kind of brighter in the image?
So I can see that the white vehicle, there's a lot of engine heat there. That usually indicates to me that the car's been sitting for a little bit or running for a while. These other 5 vehicles in frame, they haven't been running at all recently. That's why they're all cold, they're all black. The way that this lens reads heat is the whiter it is, the hotter it is, and the blacker it is, the colder it is.
When you got ahead on this scene, you indicated you made a decision to follow the vehicle that was moving. At this time, is your choice to follow this vehicle because you believe that you're capturing anything of evidentiary value?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
I wasn't sure if this was a suspect that was trying to flee, because at the time that this occurred, with it being under the tree, I didn't even see in real time that there was somebody on the right side of that vehicle. So I was just going with what was moving first and trying to keep eyes on that. And at the same time, I knew officers were coming into the complex, so I was trying to direct officers to that car.
When the vehicle actually gets to the exterior of the complex, so looking at 2 minutes and 15 seconds or so of the video. Once it's directed at the front and the individual or occupant of that darker vehicle that's out at the entrance, do you make a radio call or communicate with the officers on the ground that is not your subject?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is it that you know that?
I believe that there was some further information coming in that there were shots fired and that this was the victim that had been shot.
Now you indicated 2 individuals had gone under the tree line. Are you able to keep track when you actually go back and review the footage of where those individuals go?
Yes, ma'am. It looks like one subject went to the driver's side and the other one started to walk around to the passenger side of the car. You can see her passing the wheel well right there on the right.
So if I focus on this location here, the heat from that white vehicle that you had referenced before, you're talking about the passenger coming over to the passenger side of the white Camry.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you focusing the camera on the 2 individuals on the driver's side of the white Corolla? Excuse me, I guess it Camry.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask you specifically about the individual under the tree? I think you said arm movements that we're able to at least document on the image, typically without the tree cover. So if you had perfect conditions and were able to utilize the infrared camera, are you able to see, depending on a caliber of a weapon, heat if a firearm is fired?
I will see heat from a discharged firearm.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time I will pass the witness.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. So how are you able to ascertain like which arm is sticking out?
It looks like he's kind of backing up. So just based on the leg movements, it kind of looked like he was backing up. So I would have put his right arm because it looked like he was facing towards the vehicle.
So you can tell which arm someone's lifting by their feet movement?
Well, if I'm seeing their feet, like you know what legs look like when they're moving backwards.
I'm
So
infinitely familiar with what feet look like moving back. But I don't know how that correlates to which arm's being lifted.
that's just what I observed.
It's your opinion, right?
Sure.
And there's not a specialty class that you attend that says, hey, based on someone's leg movements moving backwards, it means this arm's picked up or that arm's picked up, right?
That's correct.
This is your opinion. How long have you been doing this?
In the aviation unit?
No. Watching aviation videos and infrared and offering opinions about people's movements based on this.
Objection.
You talked about the heat signature from a discharged firearm. Did you identify that anywhere near the scene?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you looked for it, correct?
Yes.
And April, probably fairly cool. It would certainly light up your camera, right? If it was on the ground somewhere.
Yeah, if it was on the ground, I might be able to see it, yeah.
열화면 속 그의 몸은 숨길 수 없었습니다. 그의 모습이 열화상 카메라에 고스란히 담겼죠. 두 번째로 같은 단지에 살던 이웃 주민을 증인 신청했습니다.
So I'm showing you the, I guess, building map that is for Haven at Water's Edge apartment complex, correct?
Yes.
All right. And even though it's kind of boxed off here, what is this area where the line would be?
That is parking. So there is some areas that are covered and uncovered. So it's a street. That's what's inside. That's inside of the apartment complex.
Okay. And you said that you specifically were in which unit?
603.
Showing now at 2 minutes and 1 second, just a still image. Do you recognize what we're looking at in this image?
Yes, I do. This is the parking area. There's actually that sidewalk in front of the black cars. That's that breezeway that would walk between the apartments on the first floor that I was speaking of.
Okay, and so are you referring to this bottom left corner?
Yes.
All right. And do you in fact see your vehicle in this?
I do. My vehicle is the Nissan Sentra that is under the car covering on the right-hand side next to the white SUV. So that's gray vehicle is mine.
So the second car in on the front portion of the parking.
That's correct.
Published was previously been admitted as State's Exhibit 20. All right, and I paused it real quick. But Ms. Childs, do you recognize the door 603 that we can see in this stopped image of the video?
I do. This is my home, or was my home.
Okay. And on April 19th of 2023, had you been expecting any deliveries?
I was. I ordered a package off Amazon, and I was expecting it to come in. They marked it as delivered, but it wasn't, so I had been anxiously waiting for this package to arrive.
Okay. And so on April 19th of 2023, were you working that day?
I'm not sure. I do not remember if I was working that day. I worked from home, so I was a little flexible on whether or not I was what task I was completing, but I was home that day for sure.
Okay. And at some point, did you become aware that actually your package had arrived on the 19th?
I did. So I checked it again on the app. It said it was delivered, and I went outside to check for it.
And had you checked it in the early morning hours of April 19th of 2023?
It was dark outside, so I don't remember if it was early morning or late at night, but I do remember checking while it was dark and it wasn't there. And then I came back when the sun was up, and I'm assuming morning time, to find it, and it was there.
Okay.
이 주민의 카메라는 그의 얼굴이 아니라 그의 동선을 정확히 찍고 있었습니다. 도망칠 곳은 애초에 없었던 겁니다. 세 번째로 등장한 건 그 자신조차 부정할 수 없는 증거였습니다. 바로 그의 지문이었죠.
Did you make those markings at the time that you completed your analysis as to whether these fingerprints were made by the same individual?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, at this time, the state seeks to admit state's exhibits number 42 and 43, as well as self-authenticating exhibits 44 and 45.
Any objections?
No lawful objection.
All right, they will be admitted.
And what was your conclusion as to your analysis between the known set of fingerprints from the individual by the name of Joseph Killins and the fingerprints included with the penitentiary pack for Joseph Killins?
That both impressions were made by the same individual.
그가 그토록 부인해온 신원이 손끝 하나로 완전히 확정되는 순간이었습니다. 그리고 결정적인 증인, 피해자가 증인석에 앉았습니다. 그러자 조셉은 멘탈이 나가버렸죠.
Tell us what happened.
So when I parked my car, at the moment my purse was a backpack, so I was gathering all my stuff, and it was a big pizza box. So I parked my car up straight, like I was not in a reverse park. And when I tried to get out of the car, they approached me with a gun.
Okay. You said they approached you. Do you mean one person or more than one person?
One person.
And in that moment, I'm going to slow you down a little bit, okay? You said you were getting your stuff out of the car. Were you able to fully get out of the car?
No.
How far out of the car did you get?
I had one leg out.
Okay. You're sitting in the driver's seat. Which leg were you able to get out of the door?
My left leg.
Were you able to raise out of your seat as you were trying to get out of your door?
No.
And when you said they approached you, you said it was one person, was it a male or a female?
A male.
And what did you see in that moment?
I could just see the gun.
Do you remember the color of that gun?
It was silver grayish.
And did the man that you saw with that gun say anything to you?
So when I first saw him, I started screaming. He was telling me that if I tried to do something else, he was gonna kill me.
The man that had the gun got into the car behind your driver's seat?
Yes.
And then what happened?
So he just kept asking for money and cards. He wanted me to drive specifically to an ATM.
And so you're driving around, there's a conversation about Nebraska Avenue.
Yeah, he started asking about Nebraska Avenue. He started asking me if I had a boyfriend. I told him I had a girlfriend. And then he started saying, oh, I know that money, call her. But when he dropped the pizza box, I thought my phone had fallen with the pizza box.
So at this time, did you still have your left earbud in?
Yes. I turned around in the same parking spot, like in the parking lot of the Botanic, and then when you got out, there was like a solo to like go to the apartment complex.
Okay, so another turn.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, were you being directed to turn into this apartment complex?
Yes,
Did you follow the directions?
I did.
Do you recognize your vehicle in this photograph?
I do.
Okay. And when you parked, is this how you parked the vehicle?
Yes.
Backed into the spot?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that was at the direction of the man that was in the car with you?
Yes.
Once you were parked in that spot, did the man in the vehicle with you give you any other direction?
So when I parked, the first thing I saw was a gentleman. He was walking around the apartment complex. And the guy told me that if I tried to run or do anything, he was gonna kill me and the guy.
Okay, so refer to a couple different guys. I want to make sure that we're talking about the same person.
Okay.
The man that's in the vehicle
Yes.
made a statement that if you tried to do anything, he was going to do what?
Kill me and the guy I was looking at.
Okay, so another man who happened to be walking in the apartment complex.
Yes.
Understood. So did you try to do anything?
No.
So then what happened?
So he kept saying that he didn't know what he was gonna do with me. Then he started saying that if I didn't have any money or anything to give him, that I had to give him something else.
In that moment, did you know exactly what he meant?
I wish I didn't.
And so when he says that he has to, or you have to give him money or something else, does he wind up elaborating?
So, at some point he just stated that if I didn't have any money or anything to give him, that I had to give him some head. Meaning.
And what happened as you started to get involved?
I didn't want to do it, and he was telling me like, oh, that's not how you do it. And then he just kept pushing my head down with his hand.
Or let me ask you this, did he touch you anywhere else while this was happening?
So he tried touching, putting his hand in my tie, and I kept telling him like, no, please don't.
Said in your tight?
Yeah.
Okay. Are those your pants?
Yes.
Okay.
When I finished, I had to throw up, so I opened my door, making that my door was the only one unlocked in the car. So I threw up and I closed the door. I was so panicked.
So then what happened?
So when I hear him say, "Oh no, the didn't," my guess was he noticed I threw up. Exactly in that moment, I see a car like that right in front of mine.
그리고 마지막으로 검사는 지금까지 나온 모든 증거를 하나로 묶어내며 최종 변론을 했습니다.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant, Joseph Killins, robbed and terrorized, victimized 4 women between April 18th and April 19th of 2023. The evidence in this case comes in the form of videos and maps and several witnesses, and that can prove to be overwhelming. So the purpose of talking to you in this closing argument is to address some of the things we've heard from all of those witnesses, to address the narrative that the defendant has just given you about his experience and what he alleges the evidence, having had the last several years to review every police report, every statement, having had the opportunity to sit before you and listen to each of those witnesses testify about what happened to them, what his version of events was. We'll have an opportunity to discuss that, why it doesn't match the evidence. But I want you to think back to Mr. Hackworth's opening statement. Actions speak louder than words. Utilize your common sense in this particular case. Think about how each one of the victims who took the stand reacted. What was their demeanor? What did they tell you about what happened to them? But more importantly, think about why on earth each and every single one of them would have gotten on the stand to testify about the most horrific experience they have ever had, to sit in the same courtroom with the person who caused them that trauma, with cameras and a bunch of strangers, for what? What benefit did you having to take the stand and relive being forced to give
to a stranger who had abducted her while she was working her second job. Think about the defendant's testimony as we go over each of these items of evidence. Her second job. She's a 20-year-old student and works 2 jobs. Left her first job after 10 o'clock at night to go make extra money to survive. And the defendant asked you to believe that she ran into his arms and disregarded a pizza into a parking space because she was so overwhelmed with the amount of love that she has for Big Head, his nickname. That she was just so overwhelmed, she jumped onto his person, forgot about her job, forgot everything. Everything he testified to had some kind of explanation because she was just so in love with him. That's why his DNA is all over her face and all of these things. Keep in mind his outlandish statements as you review and consider the evidence that you'll take back with you. Keep in mind the courage that it took for each person to take the stand and testify about what happened to them, physically, mentally, and emotionally, because they came into contact with one person, Joseph Killins, and how that affected and changed their lives forever. He got on this stand and provided a statement that was so unbelievable. But let's point to the facts so that I can assure you that there is no question about the statements that each and every single one of those women told you when they came into this courtroom. Because at the end of the day, during a traumatic event, your mind does not record memories like a video. Each and every single person that he victimized got in here and told you what they saw, what they witnessed from their vantage point when he did it. Your mind records and stores the memories of what you experienced in that moment. But remember that what the memories are that are stored are the facts that matter, because the facts that matter in this case did not change. They all were consistent with the evidence that was provided to you, with the exception of the defendant's statements. They all were consistent with what happened to them that night. And when we are about to go over the video evidence, and you'll actually see the timeline and have an opportunity to see the timestamps and the time frames from which you see the defendant on camera, and then the victims are having contact with law enforcement, there was no way anything other than the victim's statements of what occurred that night happened. There is no way that anything other than Joseph Killins committing an abduction from that residence inn occurred. And around for 2 hours before taking her to that apartment complex occurred. Don't rehash the questions that were asked. Why didn't you throw yourself from the moving vehicle as he nodded off to sleep? That is not any of the options the judge just read to you on your verdict form as to whether the state has established that these acts occurred. Those are distractions. Same thing with, did you say in your deposition that he had little hair and beard and crazy eyes, or bald little hair? None of those elements of the crime. None of them. You had 4 individuals who, English is their second language, came in here and told you the same statements they told law enforcement 3 years ago. They provided through all of their testimony, through the physical evidence in this case, exactly what happened to them. And they have no reason to not be telling you the exact truth. First amount of footage you have in this case comes from the video surveillance. After the vehicle from aviation leaves the scene of the shooting and goes to the entrance, it is 1:05:35 a.m. The video from the apartment complex next door, Haven, that we saw, from that parking lot where the defendant jumped over the fence, happens, and you'll see as the clock ticks down, the second aviation realizes that's your victim and points back to the original shooting scene. They've just missed the defendant who's hopped over the fence and gets away. The fence is the fence line between the 2 apartments. And the defendant testified that he ran through the buildings and ran away. He jumps over the fence. Although he also changed that and said that that's not him in the videos, that's fine, but this is the path of travel to the fence line where this video captures. The path of travel starts where the shooting occurs, where the defendant admits he was on the aviation video. And this video captures the defendant jumping over the fence at 1:05:30, just as the first victim is making contact with the officers at the front of the complex. Seconds later, captured on the next camera to the west. When he's captured on this camera, just as was pointed out when Detective Baranowski was actually on the stand, he looks up at the aviation. He's holding his pants in the exact location where, as he had a gun and was forcing her to perform on his person. There he is. There's Big Head. There's his path of travel through the parking lot. Identification at the place that he was arrested. The place that he identified to Miss Peacock, who testified last, that he said on speakerphone he was. The place where he was then ultimately arrested a few hours later. Those same exact shoes in the location he was arrested. Look at the toe box of the shoe. Sure, these are common shoes, but all of the facts considered, the person who committed a sexual battery and abducted and shot at her girlfriend's sister was Joseph Killins. Now, we have video evidence, but now we have a statement from the defendant that he stayed in the area and just hung out, looking for someone or having someone to come and pick him up. I don't know what he was doing, but he admitted that he was in the area or stayed in the area. Also captured. Now at this point we have, at 5:48 a.m., the benefit of seeing he has removed at least the top and the beanie, which had vomit on them, by his own admissions, because he was so irresistible and the victim was enjoying it so much that she vomited as he was forcing his hand onto the back of her head and forcing her head down onto his lap. So irresistible. The man who admittedly was recently released from prison, who met her at a gas station and rode up on his bicycle like a chariot, where she had a car and he had a bike. And he took her on one date at some point. And she just desperately needed this 41-year-old man and his body for her enjoyment. That's his version of events. It makes absolutely no sense.
검사는 이 피해 여성들이 대체 왜 여기까지 나왔겠느냐고 배심원들에게 물었습니다. 검사의 변론이 끝나자 배심원 12명은 따로 모여 이 사건을 두고 회의에 들어갔습니다.
State of Florida versus Joseph Killins. Case number 23 CF 5961, trial division 2, verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1. The defendant is guilty of kidnapping as charged. During the commission of the offense, did the defendant personally carry, display, use, threaten to use, or attempt to use a firearm? Yes. During the commission of the offense, did the defendant actually possess a firearm? Yes. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2. The defendant is guilty of sexual battery with a deadly weapon as charged. At the time the sexual battery with a deadly weapon was committed, was the defendant 18 years of age or older? Yes. Did the penis of the defendant out? Yes. During the commission of the offense, did the defendant use or threaten to use a deadly weapon? Yes. During the commission of the offense, did the defendant actually possess a firearm? Yes. We, the jury, finds as follows as to count 3. The defendant is guilty of robbery with a firearm as charged. During the commission of the offense, did the defendant personally carry, display, use, threaten to use, or attempt to use a firearm? Yes. During the commission of the offense, did the defendant actually possess a firearm? Yes. We, the jury, finds as follows as to count 4. The defendant is guilty of attempted first-degree premeditated murder as charged. During the commission of the offense, did the defendant personally carry, display, use, threaten to use, or attempt to use a firearm? Yes. During the commission of the offense, Did the defendant actually possess a firearm? Yes. During the commission of the offense, did the defendant personally discharge a firearm? Yes. During the commission of the offense and as a result of the discharge of the firearm, did the defendant cause great bodily harm to? Yes.
그리고 채 30분도 지나지 않아 돌아온 답은 5개 혐의 전부 유죄였습니다.
Jury number 6, is this your true and correct verdict? Yes. Jury number 12, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Jury number 15, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Jury number 17, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
And jury number 25, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
All right, so sit down, Mr. Killens. So there's a
Jury answered in court.
what's going on, Mr. Killens? Mr. Hackworth, I don't want you to go in, but I want you to go back in a few seconds and make sure the closed circuit TV's working that we've had set up.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
he's going to watch this court from in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
지금까지 당당하던 그 얼굴이 처음으로 무너졌습니다. 그리고 법정은 순식간에 아수라장이 됐죠.
Yeah, the states failed to meet their burden as to count 5. States failed to prove that he was in actual possession, and the state has
You
failed
mean count 6?
count 6. I'm sorry,
That's okay.
Roman numerals. I'm sorry. Also, the states failed to prove their case with regard to him being a prison release reoffender. We ask you to acquit him. Thank you.
이틀 뒤 그를 기다린 건 처벌의 수위를 결정짓는 두 번째 재판이었습니다. 그는 방화제로 2차례나 복역하고 나온 지 채 3년도 되지 않았습니다. 9건의 중범죄 전과를 가진 그에게 법은 형량을 가중시킬 준비를 하고 있었습니다.
All right, all the jurors are here. Everybody can be seated. Mr. Foreperson, I understand you've reached your verdict. Can you please hand the verdict form to the bailiff?
그리고 마침내 이 6개 혐의에 대해 법원이 그에게 어떤 처벌을 내릴지 결정할 시간이 왔습니다.
Statute, this kidnapping is a life felony. I must sentence you to life imprisonment. As to count 2, which is the sexual battery with a deadly weapon, in that case, I must sentence you to 50 years based on the jury's findings. I'm going to sentence you to 50 years, 50, pursuant to statute, and as a prison releasee reoffender, I must sentence you to life imprisonment. As to count 3, which is the robbery with a firearm, which is a first degree felony punishable by life imprisonment, I must sentence you pursuant to 1020 life law to the 10-year minimum mandatory, and as a prison releasee reoffender, I'm going to sentence you to life imprisonment. As to count 4, which is the attempted first degree murder charge, the jury found you guilty and found all of the interrogatory questions pursuant to 1020 life. I'm going to sentence you to life imprisonment pursuant to you being a prison releasee reoffender. I must sentence you to life imprisonment.
무장납치, 종신형, 흉기를 이용한 성폭행, 종신형, 무장강도, 종신형, 1급 살인미수, 종신형. 판사의 입에서 종신형이라는 말이 4번 반복됐습니다. 모든 형은 동시에 집행됩니다. 사실상 그는 다시는 세상 밖으로 나올 수 없음을 의미했습니다.
I'm seeing you shake your head no. You want to say no?
No, ma'am.
All right. All right, listen. Good luck to you, sir. You're going to step over to my left where you're going to be fingerprinted by the bailiffs. Take care.
여러분은 이 사건에 대해 어떻게 생각하시나요? 여러분의 생각을 댓글로 남겨주세요. 구독과 좋아요, 댓글은 영상을 만드는데 큰 힘이 됩니다. 감사합니다. 처벌 실화냐?